All right. So we are back here once again on Commanders in the Chat, episode 71, the Trent Williams edition. Well, what's going on, Rob?
I literally just caught that when I was looking at the down at the bottom. Yeah, another week heading into week 10. Big matchup against Seattle, which I feel like we've played Seattle a lot lately. Um,
hmm
Not that much history, but there's definitely some history there between the two teams.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you said, heading back west to play the Seattle Seahawks this week to start week 10 of our season. We're still a month away from the bye week, which is a crazy thing. Tomorrow will be the essentially a month will be the a month from tomorrow will be the bye week essentially at week 14. So we're still doing our thing here. So we got before we kind of get into the Seattle matchup, we definitely got to talk about our matchup last week where we did beat the New England Patriots by the final score of 20-17. A very interesting game to say the least. So Rob, what was your thoughts on winning the Foxborough?
Another one of those games where we played down to our competition. It's a game that we should have won, and we did. Fortunate enough to walk out of Foxborough with a dub for the first time. I think you said since 1996, I believe it
Yep.
was. Um, Sam Howell played a great game. I think Sam Howell played fantastic.
Yep.
Eric Bieniemy called a good game. Manuel Forbes locked down, which I mean, a Patriots receiver isn't. It's no AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Um, Forbes will have a much bigger challenge, which I'm sure we'll get into later on in the show. But overall, it's a good game. Special teams played well. Offense played well. Um, Other than that one, the pick in the end zone at the end of the half
Yeah.
by Sam. Again, he played a great game altogether, all around. I think I'm finally coming around to the fact that Eric Bieniemy does not believe in the run game. Even if he had a Hall of Fame running back there, he wouldn't really run the ball. It's at the end of the day, a win's a win in this league. Even for somebody like myself who wants Ron Rivera fired as soon as possible. But hey, maybe I'll get my wish on Monday.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where I don't think they really. I think it's gonna be probably maybe towards the end of the year. It just depends on coupled with. I say if we go 1 and 2 between now and Black Friday, I can see it where hey, you got 10 days versus Miami. Might be the perfect time, or they may just wait till the bye after Miami. But yeah, I was it's one of those things where Washington just put us on this emotional roller coaster for every week, and it's kind of to a point where you get upset, but then when they pull it off, you're gleeful.
Yeah,
Like you said, Sam Howell a fantastic job, and and it's crazy because Bill Belichick is always when it comes to first time quarterbacks that he's facing, he usually is a nightmare. But I mean, he carved up Bill Belichick's defense. So to me, I love it, and it's just one of the things where I'm just glad that now people finally seeing what I saw in Sam Howell the moment I seen him at UNC. So it's just one of those where you know he has rose to that occasion and became that guy here. Um, and like you said, great. I was so happy, especially for guys like Quan Martin, getting that interception at the end. He's been battling injuries. He's been in and out the lineup. And you say like Emmanuel Forbes doing his thing, kind of getting his confidence back. And I think one thing too, I did like the fact that he, as far as that emotional outburst against Philly, that just showed me he cared. He got the moxie, and it's the one he got a setback, and it's fine. It's one of those where it's gonna happen. Chris Rodriguez, guy that we talk about often on this show, made a great special teams play, and then I think you got to think about it. One of the most criminal referee errors was that KJ Henry sack that they pretty much negated. So and going back to Sam, where I knew Sam was going to have moments where he gets greedy. And once he kind of got a grasp of his offense, which I think he's starting to get more comfortable in his offense. I knew there was gonna be times where he was gonna get greedy, and that play in the end zone was definitely sheer greed that But and he'll learn from that, and and that's one thing. Like kept on saying from the jump, most guys who we've had on the squad from the quarterback position would have folded. You throw an interception like that, we can go back even to Kirk, where they get flustered, and
Yeah.
you'll see that play end up be essentially the defining moment where they kind of crumble. And Sam just kept on going, almost damn near ignored the turnover and went about his business.
Yeah. And that's the thing I like about Sam Howell. Short memory, doesn't really makes a bad play, comes back next drive and makes up for it. He doesn't really linger too long, and he's able to come back from it.
Yeah, and well, shout out to our guy Ken. Ken coming up to Miami being a comeback player of the year. Can't imagine who would argue against it. And that's what I said. And it's funny. I even said if he took one snap this year, he would be it. Just off the
So,
sheer fact of the popularity and everything that's going on.
so there's some backstory to that comment. So we did a show. It was myself, I believe Ken was there, Mo and Prez were there, and we got
Hmm.
on the subject. And Mo brought up the fact that DeMar Hamlin is pretty much ass. Like he's not that great of a player. He's not a difference maker. And we turned that into Mo hates dead people. He doesn't like people who die and come back to
Yeah,
life. And we've just been messing with him. I think it
yeah,
was the other day I posted something. I was like, "Can you imagine?" Or like it was showing that DeMar Hamlin was a comeback player of the year favorite. I was like, "Yeah, Mo's not impressed. People come back from the dead all the time. Let me know when you tear your Achilles and come back and play 6 months later, like Aaron Rodgers is about to."
yeah,
But I think DeMar Hamlin should win it again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like,
Coming
yeah,
back from the dead, you
right,
can't beat that.
twice, twice.
You can't beat that.
And that's what, and I said, even I was like, that dude, all he had to do, hell, even he can't coming back in the preseason. I was like, dude, he gonna be the comeback player. Even they DNP'd him all year, he was gonna be it. But like you
Yeah.
said, now he got in like week 4, and he hit. I mean, I think all you gotta do is for that case, he played one snap, one down in the, one down. He's gonna be it. It's a surefire thing. But yeah. So and I always find this all this type of stuff funny, like as far as when it comes to the chatter, when we have like former players and and they say certain things and what have you. So um Chase, now with the San Francisco 49ers, he essentially had his press conference a couple of days ago. And he did go on to say that, and this is just one little excerpt that I wanted to talk about, essentially, where he said, just stepping in here for today, got in here last week, just the culture, the vibe is a lot different. I definitely know that I am in the building with winners. Close quote. What are your thoughts on it?
So I had a few thoughts. One was like initially I was like, okay, like sure you say what you want to say. You got to say something like
Mhm.
that. Coming into your new team, you want to start off positive, which I get that. Um, but then I thought about it and then seen somebody else had commented, had posted on Twitter about it. The same thing. You were a captain. Part of your role as a captain is to set the tone, is to be part of the culture. And I understand. I am all for players not showing up to to non-mandatory training camp. If it's not mandatory, if you are not required to be there per whatever instruction or laws, whatever rules set in place, and you aren't there, fine. I'm all for it. Is it a bad look? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the best idea? Of course not. So for you to come to so for you to leave a place like Washington and say, well, the culture just wasn't it there. You not showing up to OTAs in the off season. Again, non-mandatory, I get it. You're also coming off an ACL tear. So probably would have been good to get in there and get some, you know, have the team docs look at you so they can assess your progress. And then on top of that, like I said, being a captain, part of your role is to set the tone and be a part of the culture that you want it to be. It did rub me the wrong way a little bit once I sat and thought about it. Um, but also at the same time, I understand he's only one person in his third year in the league, coming off a second year where he didn't play at all because of the tear. It's a tricky situation. It's not a great situation to be in, but I think ultimately I didn't wasn't a fan of the comments.
Yeah, I'm like mixed about it. I mean, it kind of stated the obvious. I think when it comes from a winning culture like the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, I don't even think I need to even be in a building to know that, hey, this team is serious about winning. I mean, you think about it, this in this Cal Shanahan, John Lynch era, they've been to the Super Bowl. They've had playoff success. Now you're looking at it where they started off 5-0, and now losing three straight. I know there's a sense of urgency coming back from out the bye week. So it's one of the things where too, and like you said, I even said this, and shout out to our guys, Ray and Wole from the Urban Sports Scene. I was on that show last night, and I was talking the same thing that you were saying, Rob, where we thought Chase was that guy because we talked about it even on our show. Well, as far as especially that 2020 season where he was, a very like a leader of this team. I mean, you look at like I even bought a situation when he was on the bench when he got injured when he was playing Cleveland, and how he was able to like kind of I know the late Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, he had a rough game with that, but he every time Dwayne went on the sidelines, he was consoling him, hey, just trying to get his spirits up and do that. Then when Taylor Heineke comes in and he's his big supporter, he's the one that's putting this across his jersey, as far as being that rah guy that we had, and then like you said, once the injury kind of transpired, that everything kind of went downhill, and you kind of seen less and less of it. But I mean, he's kind of stating the obvious, and it's just one of those ways. Just like, I mean, I know he had to say it because he's in a new place, but I mean, it is what it is. That's one thing too. The thing about it, hey, it's I wish Chase the best of luck. I hope he can get some money. Get his money somewhere because I know San Francisco probably not gonna be able to afford him, but get your money somewhere next season and hopefully you can get and have a successful career. And but yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
Wish him the best of luck. But
for
hey,
sure.
I forgot
And
who
we
said
see
it.
New Year's Eve, buddy. So
I forgot who was it? Mike Singletary when he was talking about Vernon Davis. I'm gonna
yeah,
coach the guys that want to be here. I think it was him. I don't remember who said it, but something like that. We're gonna coach the guys who want to be here.
huh?
That's all that is.
I think I think I was. I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight. It's acting a little wonky. I think I'm on. But anyway, yeah.
I can hear you.
But it's.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see him on. Okay, good. All right, so yeah, we'll see him on New Year's Eve. It's all good.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be playing for something then. You know, but that's here no deal. So, all right. So now we'll get into the world. Okay. All right. So okay. All right. So we'll get to our Week 10 matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks. So first, Rob, I gotta ask, what is your storyline to watch in our matchup as we head west again?
So the fact that in the last 5 games we're 2-3 against them, against the Seattle team, they're a much different team than what we saw the last time we played them, which was 2 years ago on that Monday night game in DC in the middle of a playoff push.
Yeah.
Um, really just carrying the momentum over. The like we talked about earlier, the play calling was great. Sam Howell played great, great decision making, other than Obviously, the one interception in the end zone, he played great, carrying that momentum over against a good team, a team who is essentially a division leader right now. They're tied with the Niners at 5-3. They're a division leader right now. This is one of those teams that if we want a chance, if this coaching staff believes that this team can make a playoff push and do anything in the playoffs, this is a team that you need to do it against. Geno Smith has been playing great. He's in his prime. The defense isn't as good as I thought it was when I started looking at the numbers, but still, a Pete Carroll defense is still a Pete Carroll defense. You never want to overlook them. Second storyline is could this finally be the end of Ron Rivera? Because when there's two things I know about this team, and it's when we play bad teams, we play down to the competition, and when we play good teams, we get the brakes beat off of us. So, is this going to be a Buffalo situation where it's all Seattle the entire time, and it's just we're texting each other how about how much we hate this team and why do we keep doing this, and are we going to be Ravens fans next year, or is this going to be one of those nail biters again? Because we know it's not going to be a blowout for the Commanders. We know that it's against Ron Rivera's religion to have a wire to wire win with no drama, no heart racing. So is it going to be a blowout, or is it going to be a game where we come back next Thursday and we talk about how maybe this team can put something together? Maybe it was addition by subtraction, getting rid of Tez and Chase.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and to me, the storyline. This is a must-win game. I know, yeah, and I know I've said that on Urban Sports Scene last night, and a lot of people kind of been saying, "Hey, I don't necessarily think so," but yes, it's a must-win. It's to a point because your back is against the wall. You lost to the Eagles twice. You lost to the Giants one time already. You gonna have to start getting some NFC wins. You got to start getting some of these wins because if the season ended today, with it, we would be the AC in the NFC, meaning that we're only one. The only team that's in our way to get that seventh spot is the Minnesota Vikings, and they're playing with Joshua Dobbs as their quarterback. You gonna have to start winning these football games.
Yeah.
Like this is not a game. I mean, because you thinking about it, if you look at it, they're the ones really not way. And then now you think if Atlanta makes a surge to a point where we tied or whatever, we get the tiebreaker. So these type of games matter, especially. And I can understand that. Hey, if we was in a cushion where we were made like 6, and at this point maybe 6-3, or maybe like 6-3, even 5-4. I wouldn't necessarily think the sense of urgency would be there, but you're 4-5. Like this is the complete turnaround. Like you said, if you want to have aspiration to make the playoffs, it has to start. It has to start on Sunday because you literally are going to have 3 games within almost a 10-day period. You have to get this done if you want to make the playoffs. This is it. This is probably be your best stretch between now and the bye week to kind of get yourself together, because after that, that's gonna be the issue. So this is a game you're gonna need, and you know, and I'm, and hey, let's get that 7 seed and head over to Detroit. Third week in January. I'm with it. Let's do it.
Yeah, because looking at the schedule coming up, it looks a lot better than in my eyes what it did 2 weeks ago after that Giants loss. Obviously, we got Seattle coming up.
Yeah.
We got the Giants after that, which they're rocking with Danny Tortellini. So that one should be. Then you have at Dallas on Thanksgiving, which Dallas is beatable. Let's
Yeah.
not pretend that they're not. Miami, which does not play well against good teams. Are we a good team? I wouldn't say, but can we be? Yes. Then you have the bye week. Then we have December 17th at the Rams. Not a good team. The Jets. Will Aaron Rodgers be back in that time? Probably not. possibility. We don't know if they're rocking Zach Wilson. That's a winnable game. 49ers, we've seen not only the chink, but the chunk taken out of their armor the last 3 weeks. That's now a winnable game. And then January 7th at home to finish out the season with Dallas is also, if this team plays to its potential, is also a winnable game. So we could go whatever in two over the last stretch of the season and be in that 5 or 6 seed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could also lose the rest of the games and Ron Rivera's fired, but that's why we watch football.
Yeah. And I'm at a point where, I'm at a point where, hey, I want to make the playoffs. Because I even know, even with Ron Rivera making the playoffs, he's not coming back next year. I mean, regardless of what happened, except if we were to win the Super Bowl, which that probably more likely won't happen. If that happens, I'm scared. But anyway, that's the only, I think, conceivable way that he will keep his job if we was to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But we're not. So part of me, we want the farewell game to be January 7th. I mean, for us to at least snip the playoffs, because I think that's one of those things where you really want to, because and we've always talked about this, Rob. It's like, because, and it's not Delulu. It's not Delulu. This is a good football team from a paper standpoint.
Yeah.
This team has that potential to make the playoffs. This isn't like a far-fetched analysis. This football team, especially in the last 3 years, especially since we've covered this team, have always been in playoff contention to almost to the end. And now we have a quarterback, and we have an offensive coordinator. So it's like we got that opportunity, and it's right at our grasp, because NFC is so weak now, and it's like you cannot let somebody who just got traded Wednesday lead this team into the playoffs with Josh Dobbs. Yeah. Like, it's here. It's you're knocking at the door. Like, this is the perfect time to turn this thing around. And like we said, November's always the that time where it gets turned around. December's the one that's kind of the iffy. Yeah. But it's here. It's here. So we gotta go into our X Factor. Rob, who's your X Factor in our matchup against the Seahawks?
So I talked about him a little bit earlier. His essentially a comeback performance over the last 2-ish weeks. Manuel Forbes.
Yeah.
I think he had a bit of a morale booster last week. I think he got his groove back. Stella got her groove back. He played with that confidence last week. He has a big test coming up this week. He has DK Metcalf, who is a absolute physical specimen in every sense of the word. Is this going to be another AJ Brown incident where DK goes off for 7 catches, 130 yards, 2 scores? Or is this kind of the coming out party for Emmanuel Forbes? And another one is Sam Howell, which we'll get into in a little bit. This is a defense to be had. This isn't some vaulted Legion of Boom, Pete Carroll defense. And again, like I said earlier, a Pete Carroll defense is still a Pete Carroll defense. You want to be careful. But again, this isn't. We're not sitting back there with Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas sitting backfield and Richard Sherman and what's his name, Byron Maxwell, I think his name was, on the other side during the 2012-2013 days, their Super Bowl run. Sam Howell, this is definitely a chance for him to have another big day.
Yeah. I like you said, I think Sam Howell is the key in the X Factor in this game, because I think, like you said, and you see how, like, now what they've done now, they've kind of incorporated this. I call it the pick your poison type of offense, where everybody is involved. And that's the beauty thing about it, where we never know who's going to break out and have that game. So it's kind of one of the things where to have a to finally have a multifaceted offense sounds crazy that we're talking about the Washington Commanders and we're talking about one of our strengths of this football team is our offense. So and I think you look at that and like I said, I think we'll be able to win that battle against their defense. I think the only thing that really scares me is, like I said, our pass defense. Because they, even despite of kind of Seattle like slight struggles and so late, but they, DK's eating, Smith and Juba. I think that's he's eating like that, those guys and Lockett. They're still a formidable trio, and like you said, can we kind of get ourselves together? And even though I know, I know a lot of people say, well, you guys are going against, these terrible wide receivers with New England, but they're pros, they're professionals. So it's like they may not be like the elk of DK or Smith and Joba, but they still are professionals. They still get paid. So it's a performance based league. So our corner is definitely going to be one where it's going to be the big X factor as far as kind of make. I think it's like a bend but don't break type situation on that end where hey, just they'll get what defense gives them, but don't give them too much. And I think that's the thing where don't give up those big plays. I think that's going to be the biggest issue. I think or the X factor that you're hoping that the secondary will not allow big plays. So we shall see with that one. Yeah. That's a to be continued, unfortunately. So that would just go into our keys to a Washington Commanders victory. What you got, Rob?
So I got balance, just overall balance when it comes to play calling for Eric Bieniemy. Defensive passing stats for Seattle, they average about 232 yards per game giving up in the air. That's 20th in the league. And their rush defense, they give up 122 yards per game. That is 21st. So that is like towards the bottom third of the league in those two passing categories. Fun fact that I was today years old when I learned it. Sam Howell with 2,471 passing yards right now is second in the league in passing.
Yeah.
Behind only Tua Tagovailoa. If you're looking at overall, basically an MVP race, Tua has 0 wins against teams with winning records, which is what something kind of been harped on all week with this team. Sam at least has the one. He has one win against a team with a winning record this season. Patrick Mahomes has 2. Lamar Jackson has 3. Of those 4, percentage of team offense, he accounts for nearly 88% of team offense, which leads those four players. So it's definitely like I said earlier, it's this defense is to be had. This is a good chance for him to possibly break the 400-yard passing mark. We know EB likes to throw a lot, which I know he will. But again, if I'm coaching this team, I'm trying to make it as balanced as possible because that run defense isn't great over there in Seattle. And this isn't a Legion Boom. You don't have Bennett and Bruce Irvin up there on the front like they used to. This is a defense that can be carved up, can be taken advantage of, and something that I fully expect Eric Bieniemy to go watch film and draw up some plays to attack this defense.
Yeah, big time. I think one of the keys, like you said, and I think, and this one where I know, like we said, EB loves to pass, but like you said, the running game, because you look at Baltimore, like really went off last week as far as from running the football. Like I think that's one of the things where I think you essentially establish your run early, then get the pass game going because you really want to, and then kind of do a little bit of mix and kind of get their defense kind of tired, get their defense fatigued, and kind of get them kind of winded and kind of get them essentially out of the game in that way where they're just so fatigued and worn out, and then those opportunities when they're worn out, then that's when you attack, and that's when you can put up those scores, you can put up the production offensively. That and then I think too, this is interesting, and this I got this from John Cam, who covers Washington Commanders for ESPN. Um, the key is to keep Geno Smith in the pocket. So this is an interesting stat. So outside the pocket, Smith is 7th in pass attempts and 6th in passing yards, 13th in completion percentage, and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 1 sack. That's when he's outside of the pocket. So that's when he can roam around, do his thing, which we've had quarterback kind of do that. So that's kind of eerie, scary stat. But if you keep him inside the pocket, he's 22nd in attempts, 20th in yards, 19th in completion percentages, with 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 17 sacks. Which
that was Sam Howell numbers.
Yeah. And that's where I'm like, yeah, you got to keep him. You got to keep him in that, in that outside, inside that pocket, because that's where you're gonna have your best chance. Like you said, especially the way this pass defense has been, and then like I know a lot of people were saying, maybe, with Chase and Martez gone, but we played really well in the back end, which I agree with that. Where this could be a situation where I think we can have these type of opportunities, but we definitely got to keep him bottled up. And I think another thing too is the turnovers. I think if we can get to a point where we can kind of establish some turnovers, and I think that could be key for us, especially give the offense the ball back, and kind of, create drives and create some extra possessions for ourselves and with that. So I definitely, if we win the turnover battle, coupled with keeping Geno, inside the pocket, and kind of having a balanced attack, pass, and run. And like I said, I know Bieniemy has abandoned the run, as we can see. But hey, I think when you have a defense of that nature where they're susceptible to this type of stuff, I think I would literally run it down their throat for at least a few series and kind of see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then kind of, work your way and kind of establish that pass game. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, because it it is gonna be interesting. I lost my train of thought, not even gonna lie. I had a thought in my head and then
it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So, prediction time, Rob. Are you gonna be devil's advocate yet again? Are you gonna be the kiss of prediction death?
So,
what you got?
Like I mentioned earlier, of the past 5 games we've played against the Seattle Seahawks, we have not scored more than 17 points in any of them. We've scored 17 3 times, 15 and 14 the other 2 times respectively. Seattle's has not been much better. 15 20, 14 27, and 24 for them. So I think we're going to stay in that range. Going Washington, getting 21 points. They do a little bit better, but still, there's not going to be a lights out offensive performance, scoring output. To 14 for Seattle. So I think we are going to win this game. I think this game is going to be the start of something great. Like I said, that defense overall for the Seahawks is not fantastic. I think Eric Bieniemy can put together a game plan, and the offensive line is playing a lot better once they've made those changes, in combination with Sam Howell just getting the ball out quicker, giving him those quick reads. 21-14 Commanders.
Yeah, I think I have it almost eerily similar. So I have the Washington Commanders winning 24-17. I think it's going to be one of those where, like you said, I think they'll have opportunities offensively to kind of do their thing. The big question mark is going to be defense. Will they get pressure to Geno Smith? Will they force the turnovers like almost eerily to what the Ravens did last week? And can we win a turnover battle? And also, can we kind of keep Geno kind of ball in, and can our cornerbacks contain, their wide receivers. So that's gonna be kind of a huge thing. So yeah, so this is definitely gonna be an extremely interesting game for us. And like you said, it goes with that. So yeah, man. So this wraps up this portion of it. So and it's funny, I guess with everything that's been going on, especially this week, of the other stuff I've been doing all week, I really haven't had a time to kind of actually sit down and talk about this topic that we're going to discuss. So I'll set up the play. So in case so Robin, you're an SC guy, so guys played Washington, guys lost.
Yep.
Because this was your third loss or second loss. I forgot what it was. It's third loss. So there's
Right
the
there.
third loss of the season. So Caleb Williams had a hell of a game, but he just fell short in this game. So what ended up happening at the end of the game, he Caleb kind of leaps into the stadium, sees his mother, he consoles with his mother, and he cries, and his mother covers his face, cover his mask, and you can see by him like holding his mother and just kept head nodding and the shoulders and all that obviously he was indeed in fact crying. So
Yeah.
and obviously there has been some people going back and forth about uh should he have done it and this, that, and third, and pretty much question his maturity. So I really wanted to get your thoughts on it as well. So what was your thoughts on Caleb Williams crying in the stands after the game?
So I remember when NIL first came about and players started signing with different schools for money in certain ways. The narrative was, well, these kids don't care about winning. It's no longer about winning for them, especially with the news about Caleb Williams a few weeks ago saying, "Whoa, I make more money in NIL deals than I would in the NFL as a quarterback," which I don't think is true. I think right now, Bryce Young makes like 20 something million a year for being the number one pick. I don't think he's making north of 20 million NIL deals, but he's making good money. He's definitely a millionaire. When all that started going on, people were saying, "Oh, see, kids don't care about the game anymore. It's not about winning. It's not about going to the school for the environment, the band, doing all this. It's about the money." So then he loses a game that he played his ass off. That pretty much was, if they would have won, they would have beat Washington. They still, in a way, would have controlled their own destiny for a Pac-12 championship appearance. Now we got to beat Oregon, win out with some help. I think we only have about 3 games left. Played his ass off, lost. He's accepting the fact his season's pretty much done. He's not getting into the college football playoff for sure. You're not winning the Heisman. You're most likely not going to play for a Pac-12 championship. There's a lot of talk of should he just sit out the rest of the season. Once he realized that, yes, he gets emotional. He goes to the one person that you should know, no matter what, you should be able to be emotional with, your own mother. And those same people saying stuff like, "Oh, these kids are doing it for the money." Oh, he's crying. Why would we want that? Do you want these kids to care or not? Do you want them to still care about the game or not? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't on one hand say they only want the money, it's all about the money, and then when they show that they care about the game, oh well, they're soft. Jason Whitlock needs to stop tweeting, needs to stop writing,
Yes,
needs to stop doing whatever he's doing,
yes,
short of breathing. You can breathe, but that's it. Um, I forgot who JB, the coach
yes.
from Last Chance U,
Yeah,
the one who allegedly impersonated a lawyer to do something in California. Yeah, he needs to shut the hell up. You need to worry about your own court case, your own court proceedings, and this alleged scam that you allegedly partook in. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about some 20-year-old, 21, 22-year-old kid crying because he lost a football game. It, this is what this dude has done for the last 20 years of his life. He he's not used to it. Let's not. He was the number one recruit in high school, which means he was throwing for yards and winning ball games. In Oklahoma, he didn't lose a lot. Last year, lost 2 games the entire year, both to Utah. and then three is this year. He doesn't lose a lot. On the flip side of that, because he doesn't lose a lot, I would say he does need to get used to it because number one overall picks don't typically go to defending Super Bowl champions. You know, he's going to either the Cardinals or the Bears, who both are a dysfunctional franchise right now. So he's going to lose a lot his first couple of years. He's not going to come in and lead either team to anything significant. So on one hand, like he cares about this game. He's going to keep playing, which I don't think he should. I think he should. I think he should quit the team. I think he should stop playing and get ready for the NFL draft. But he's going to keep playing. But he does need to start getting used to losing because he's going to do it a lot his first 2 years.
Yeah, and I think my personal opinion with it, I loved it. I mean, and I reposted it early Sunday morning. On my TikTok, I loved it, like you said, because here we go again with this. You pick the narrative, like you said, because everybody always said, "Well, Caleb Williams, he doesn't take this game serious, or he doesn't take." Yeah, and he did take it serious. That's something that because you're not if you don't care, you're not crying, you're not upset, or you're not crying at this case. He wouldn't have cared. The thing that killed me about all that is that moment was caught on camera where they could have cut that away from him.
Yeah.
So this whole thing of where he should have waited or something. Look, dude, and I keep telling people I don't understand. I don't know, but I know if it was a situation, and even Chris Fowler even said it to the in the broadcast. He said, "Think about it. He knows essentially his season is over. Everything, any type of personal accolades that can happen at USC are done with. Like you said, like you mentioned to it earlier, Rob. He's not going to the Pac-12 championship. He's not going to he's not going to the college football playoff. Hell, he's not even going to a New Year's Six bowl. So he'll be probably having a bowl game the week of Christmas.
Yep.
It's that bad. So he's not going to win the Heisman. So essentially, he knows in totality that his career is damn near over here, and it's to a point where. And plus, look, like I don't care how old you are. I know you, Rob, is probably the same. Would agree with me. You go through something like that, and you see your mama. You know your mama gonna hug you, and you gonna cry. Like I mean, I'm just like that's going to happen. Like a mother love makes you do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
When your mother consoles you after something like that, yes, I'm gonna cry. I will cry, and that's one thing where the whole, like you said, the Jason Whitlock situation. He just talk about this emotion, this, that, and third, and talk about everybody's soft, but you gotta understand he's and I know we gotta stop keep saying because somebody's 21 that they grown. He's not. He's 21 years old. He's a baby, and I think and it's sad. Like, I hate when people, especially at his age level, I can understand a peer like somebody who's like 25 and saying you're a baby. But Jason, well, like you're a 56-year-old grown ass man. Did you have everything together when you were 21? Did you have what you would deem as emotional intelligence? We all didn't. The kid is 21 years old. He's a baby. Like, and it's okay for him to have that moment. And then like JB, he talk about some I would even draft him. He's the last quarterback available. Bullshit. Because if Keller Williams at Independence College in Kansas, who would have started him or Malik Henry?
Right. You pick
So
Malik
miss me
Henry.
with that. Right.
Good.
You
Don't
ain't
pick
picking
Caleb
Malik Henry.
Williams.
Right. I guarantee if you had Keller Williams in that team, you would have got him. You wouldn't have Keller Williams Malik Henry wouldn't even he would have flew him back home. He would have got him a bus ticket home if he had Caleb Williams on that team. Caleb Williams would have started for that football team. And then this whole thing of don't draft him. I'm like, I'm gonna tell y'all one thing. The internet, this shit ain't real. Because be for real. Whoever the end of the regular season, January the 7th, that morning, the morning after, whoever got the number one overall pick, they will hand that card and say, Caleb Williams, let's draft him
Oh yeah.
today if they could. They would send that card to Roger Goodell in a heartbeat. Once they do, they officially got the number 1 overall pick. This is something that's going to blow out the water. Who the hell going to care by the time he get drafted in April that he cried in November?
Right.
Nobody.
Because we see NFL players cry all the time. They lose the conference championship game. They lose the Super Bowl. They're crying. They stay on the field for a little bit. They sulking, and nobody's telling them, "Oh, we should cut them." Like, no, come on. Let's be for real. Y'all just don't like Caleb Williams, and it is what it is.
Right. It's an agenda, and then everybody bringing up, oh, well, he wanted to be the owner, and this and third. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Because that's not even going to happen. That's like saying, hey, I want to get paid $1 million for doing this show. You ain't getting paid $1 million for this. Yeah. So it's like, you can't, like, and even what he's trying to do, you can't do that in the NFL. So it's like, where's this coming from? And you're saying where it's coming from his father. I don't care. Like, we can say all we want to. I can go to my job and be like, hey, I deserve $1 million. They're going to look at you like, we ain't giving you $1 million.
Right.
Like, so this isn't a situation, and like you said, tell me you don't like Caleb Williams without telling me you don't like Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. And I hate that this whole thing, and then even like Charlie Arnett, she was even talking about it some. He was crying to his mommy and you know, the whole thing. Oh, well, if you know, you're only supposed to cry like if somebody passes away or like if you have a pet that died. I'm like, all right, you little ESPN reject, ESPN cast off. Like, what are you like? What are we talking about here? Like, he's still a child. I mean, granted he's an adult, but he's 21 years old. We got people who are almost 3 times his age talk about this kid as if like he's got it all together.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it pissed me off. Because like I wanted to talk about this, but it's like I gotta find a proper form to do it because you know I didn't have a couch coach live. As far we just talked about college, high school football on our show, but we really didn't have a formal show. So I was like, this is the only probably time this week I can really talk about it. And then obviously, couple with you loving USC, you're a USC guy, so why not?
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought it up because we've talked about it in the group chat a little bit. And definitely one of those things that definitely irked me, especially when JB said I wouldn't draft him with the last pick. You wouldn't draft him because you're no longer a coach. Like,
right.
You got fired from Independence. You got fired from JUCO.
Right.
Because people saw that you're a shitty person and you didn't win football games. And now you had to impersonate a lawyer out here in California, allegedly. And now you're about to be on trial for that. Like, bro, get out of here. Go smoke your cigars. Go yell at some kids.
Right. It's almost something he wouldn't even try. Like, the internet is not a real place. Like I keep saying, the internet is not a real place. These people, because in real life, he would eat those words.
Yeah.
He would. And, you know, and then just bring up all the type of stuff. I'm like, and it's just all, the generation stuff is soft. But I'm like, guys like Jason Whitlock, your generation raised these children. Yeah. So it's like, you blaming something that your peers raised, Yeah. So it's just like one of those things where it's just, it pissed me off, like as far as the whole, because I thought it was a great story. So I thought nothing of it on Sunday. I reposted it. It might be like right after the game, so it might be like 12, 1 o'clock, in here in East Coast wise. Then I seen the RG3 tweet, which I not agree with him on that one. And then like everybody, Jason Whitlock got on him and did a whole bunch of people. And, you're not supposed to cry in public. I'm like, really? I'm like, do y'all like? So when guys lose the NCAA tournament, his peers, we don't talk about them when they have a towel over their head.
Yeah.
Like they cry after, like if they down by 20, they crying 2 or 3 once they are put on the bench for the final time. You see a towel wrapped around their head. Like people just act like this is unprecedented. Like I've seen guys like a guy like, I don't know if you remember from back in the day, a guy like Chris Carrawell. They used to play for Duke. I remember they lost it's in the tournament, and he's like uncontrollably crying to Coach K, hugging him, and Coach K consoling him. We ain't talking about he was soft, and I guarantee they was right around the same age.
Yeah.
Like, where y'all mamas at, man? Because I'm like, because I would have folded.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, man, we had to talk about this. Yeah, it's something to kind of set me off. So yeah, so we'll put a ball tonight's show. Rob, tell me where they can find you on social media, upcoming stuff that you got going on.
Y'all already know you can find me FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Tomorrow I will be doing Cruise Island, talking about NFL officiating, how bad it is, and we'll also be covering basically midseason awards, MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive, Defensive Player, and Rookies of the Year. That's going to be probably somewhere around noon Pacific time.
Okay. All right, yeah. So check out the Couch Coach Live podcast every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Check out the website couchcoachlive.com. Also, social media, Couch Coach Live, Facebook, Twitter, aka X. And let's see what else going on in here. Thursday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Commanders in the chat. So that's Commanders ITC on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X as well. A YouTube page, Commanders in the chat as well. So catch you guys next week as we preview week 11 and the season come along. Hey, will we be back here next week, episode 72, the Charles Leno edition at the 500? Or even more down on back down to less than 550 500. So we shall see. So we'll catch you guys next week. This has been episode 71, and we're out.